Assalamu alaikum. This is a presentation that we have made for a paper for ICACCESS 2024, paper IUB 320. My name is Abias Gray, and with my fellow authors, AFM Afnan Zaman Sheikh and Sajid Ahmed Chaudhry, and of course, corresponding author, Dr. Mustafa Habib Chaudhry. We here are representing IUB Photonic Simulation Lab, and the IUB Department of Nutrition. Anyway, this is our paper title, Optimizing the Parameters of Core Shell Nanoparticles with Different Algorithms to Enhance the Performance of Thin Film Solar Cells. Anyways, let's begin. Here we have the problem statement. Thin film solar cells are becoming increasingly important for current and future demands for energy. And further, we can see that power-to-weight ratio has become an increasingly important parameter when considering building these devices, because we want to minimize expenditure of resource while maximizing our power output. And day after day, perovskite thin film solar cells continue to break records for efficiency, and furthermore, we will not be looking at perovskite thin film solar cells. However, for this study, we will instead be looking at the common thin film solar cell made of a silicon substrate. And we will be enhancing these vanilla thin film solar cells using core shell nanoparticles made of an aluminum core and a silicon dioxide shell. And these have a number of parameters that we can vary, and it creates a large domain of possible configurations that we could possibly optimize using different algorithms. Under the objectives of the study, we want to build upon previously established core shell nanoparticle studies. And this is because when in the construction of a core shell nanoparticle, there are various geometric parameters that become variable. This can be the X and Y span, the Z span, the shell thickness, and also the FTDD X span and Y span as well, which defines the periodicity of the nanoparticle across the substrate. And we can do this using, we have used two optimization algorithms. Here, the particle swarm optimization algorithm and the steepest descent algorithm. And the figure of merit that we will be analyzing and optimizing for is the short circuit current density, JSC. We have chosen this parameter because it acts as a bridge between the optical and electrical parameters. And obviously, this is a computational study, so it minimizes total expenditure for fabrication, so we don't need an expensive fabrication. Moving on to the next one. Here is our literature review. This first paper by Akon Geotopoulos focuses on the parameter power-to-weight ratios, which is a very important parameter. As I said, we want to minimize the expenditure of resources in the construction of these thin film solar cells while maximizing our output of power. And of course, this paper by Naim Arifin et al. Worked on core shell nanoparticles as well. However, really focused on optimization of these geometric parameters. Moving on, these two papers focused on using optimization algorithms. The first one using particle swarm, and the second one genetic algorithm. The first structure that the first paper optimized is a nanobraking. The second one is core shell nanoparticles, but only the spherical variety. And these two papers, first one in 1995 by Eberhard and Kennedy, focused on particle swarm optimization as a new optimizer. It emphasizes the simplicity of this algorithm, and obviously the stochastic factor that helps a better search for this solution space. And obviously we cannot mention Ansberg and Bowden of photovoltaics education website for helping us finding the formulae for electrical parameters. And also one paper I forgot to mention is Xin Xiyan and his paper on steepest descent and optimization methods. There are some limitations that we need to address before we move on. And many of these studies focus only on a single type of shape and not many, or just like do not optimize the parameters of these shapes. Furthermore, in part paper they use only one optimization algorithm. For this paper, we are instead doing and optimization of these various shapes, which are, let me say from before, a cuboid shape, cylinder shape, a pyramid shape, and an ellipsoid shape. But a limitation that we did not address is the Z position of this nanoparticle, whether it's on top, embedded within the substrate, or a combination of both. On to methodology. On the left, you can see here the simulation cell. This orange frame here is the FTD simulation region, finite difference time domain. I forgot to mention that we're using ANSYS numerical, proprietary software. The FTD finite difference time domain simulation region, and each of the blank spaces you can see here represents a boundary condition. On the sides is this anti-symmetric, symmetric boundary condition. On the top and bottom are the perfectly matched layer. And here's the silicon absorber layer. On the bottom we have the back reflector, aluminum back reflector. And I should also mention that these are 500 nanometers and 100 nanometers respectively in thickness. And on the right here you can see the parameters we're actually optimizing the core shell nanoparticles. Here we use the pyramid as an example. Here you can see the X and Y span, Z span, and the FTD X span and Y span. And here's a flow chart to better illustrate. We first did parameter sweeps and for multiple materials, gold, silver, aluminum, titanium, and the shell material was fixed as silicon dioxide. Aluminum was found to be the best material, so we just did our optimization using that particle, and the algorithm obtained the results. We found that steepest descent didn't really produce as good results as particles form optimization. So we proceeded using that to calculate our electrical parameters. A little more in depth, we used the flow chart. We used FTD for the parameter sweeps and for the optimization. And we transferred, we were able to find the optimized for forecasting short circuit current density and optical data as generation rate of electron volt pairs. And we transferred that optical data to charge, and we calculate the electrical parameters like open circuit voltage, maximum power output, and fill factor. And we obtained our results plotted thus. Here are our simulation results tabulated. As you can see here, on the left is the particle swarm optimization, and on the right is the steepest descent. Steepest descent, as you can see, not perform as well as the particle swarm optimization, but it repeats the trend across the board for all shapes. And you can see here, Q1 and cylinder were the best performing particles and maximizing the short circuit current density. I should also mention that these are not the final values for short circuit current density because recombination was not considered in the FTD simulations. We considered recombination in the charge simulations, which we transferred our optical data to. There is more the simulation results. The absorption spectra, where you can see increasing thickness causes a rightward shift in the spectra. This helps, so a thicker shell will help the aluminum absorbance spectrum to match more to that of silicon. Next slide. And here we have an efficiency showing the trend, and all the nanoparticles provide substantial improvement over no particle at all. The same trend you can see here with short circuit current density and power output, and we can address that open circuit voltage and fill factor did not vary too much, so aren't too relevant here and are not really significant. And lastly, the same trend exhibited by absorption enhancement factor, represented by this equation for 150 wavelength points, and we can see cuboid being the best performing one once again. Here are the near field analysis of each of the nanoparticles. You can see a color graph, one being highest, the other being the lowest in blue. You can see for cuboid and cylindrical, once again, it illustrates their better performance in helping silicon absorb more light. You can see the checks of the electromagnetic waves being illustrated by these plumes of colors. Whereas ellipsoid and pyramid are clearly less significant. And this near fields were taken at 500 nanometers. And also, I'd like to address the beams on top, the reflections of the shiny aluminum nanoparticles within the pores. We've come to the outcomes and impacts. we realized that this could help thin film solar cell manufacturers to choose the parameters when they want to fabricate these nanoparticles and not have to waste their time on various materials testing and varying the parameters otherwise. Now, since short-circuit current density, this can also help other researchers in other fields like biomedical instrumentation. And for conclusion, future works, you can obviously see we have obtained optimum geometric performance for each of the nanoparticles. We have brought about a 46.94% improvement in efficiency for the cuboid nanoparticles compared to no nanoparticle at all, which is very substantial overall. And for our future works, we plan to study prismatic nanoparticles, which are basically extruded polygons. We want to vary the Z position of nanoparticles in future studies. We want to use more optimization algorithms for future studies as well, like stimulated annealing and variations of genetic algorithm, even and colony optimization, even that maybe. And one last possible area we may work on is inverse design of photonics, thin solar cells. And I personally really want to work on neural networks as surrogate models because it's way faster and potentially provide great results. And with acknowledgements to IUB and obviously authors, the previous authors, Asif Al-Sani, Kazim Noor, and Rifat Sultan for technical discussion and advice. And of course, much thanks to correspondent Mustafa Habib Choudhury as well, and all IB for funding, and IUB PSL as well. And that's about it. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, thank you very much. I think this is an honorable presentation. So from the audience, do you have any questions?
I have some few doubts.
Sure.
The first one is you have used ASD and PSL method
Yes.
to optimize the performance. Right? So when you have used these two methods, is this a hybrid method or individually you have
Individual, as I showed in the previous flow chart, these are given with this split off.
So you have gone through this ASD method and you find that the result is not too good, or we have rejected it and we have gone to
So yes.
So, is it possible to combine these two methods and to utilize the benefits of these two methods and create one hybrid one?
Potentially, yes. And we could use Stevens ascent and insert that as an initial parameter for the particles form potentially, but I'm not really sure about that.
So, the question comes from this, the fact that this different algorithms to enhance the performance. That means there is no contribution of ASD method in this step.
For this, no, we have seen that SD could have performed well, but it has been limited by the parameter number. We have only been dealing with 5 parameters, and the code for the simulated steepest ascent algorithm depends on like the number of parameters for generation size, and the code was dependent on parameters. So this is an established conclusion that the steepest ascent might not perform that well within these constraints.
Next question or next doubt.
No problem.
What will be the next study from this research?
In this research, we want to optimize more portion nanoparticles, for example, parabolic or moth eye shapes, and maybe conical shaped nanoparticles even. And we want to be more expensive. We may apply a larger constraint on these geometric boundaries, and also the set position. We did not analyze that. That was like a weak one. We do not know
Only the standard shapes we have considered. So now on we can go for some more practical on some combined shapes.
Yeah, combined shapes, or even we can also embed the particle within the substrate or make a combination of top and embedded.
Exactly. And I have one small your presentation is too, and your paper you have worked on. I definitely say. specifically to write the equations